session, we'll explore how Nokia is powering digital transformation and shaping the networks of the future. Prashant, let me begin by asking, how do you see the APAC telecom market evolving over the next 3 to 5 years, particularly in terms of network investments and technology adoption?
Good morning, Mansi. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. To answer your question first, let me change one word. It's not evolving, it is transforming. What we are seeing in the last 18 to 24 months since we've seen 5G being rolled out, and both Shyamji and Randeep sir mentioned about the way India has transformed and grown their 5G network, what we've realized is the need of low latency and high bandwidth to every end user because of various use cases which are coming up, which are AI driven, which are requiring secure and scalable networks. We see a lot of transformation happening in India and across APAC. From a network infrastructure point of view, the entire ecosystem of APAC is working on three major pillars, and cutting across is what is called as AI automation. For the three pillars, it's the IPification which is needed. All the entire IPification which is done is basically done, as in Nokia, we term it as on three typical acronyms SAS. It has to be scalable, automated, and secure. On the optics side, it is now again about the coherent optics. So the entire transformation and the investments of the entire APAC, CSPs, ISPs, data center players is now on coherent 800G optics. And the world has accepted it and getting it deployed. Lastly, coming to the end user, we have a lot of deployment happening on our fixed network side, whether it is 5G FWA on a licensed side, unlicensed side, and also movement of the high-grade GPON networks to XGS-PON. As I said, all these three are important. All these three are being transformed, but nothing is possible today without this layer of automation on top. So the world is now in the next 12 to 18 months going to be a very different perspective of how networks will be groomed and taken to the next level of technology.
Right. So let's talk about a little bit on innovation. How is Nokia driving innovation in network infrastructure to support transport, cloud, and automation?
Two aspects which I learned today morning, and this is exactly when I was joining the dots. Nokia is actually working on both our distinguished speakers. So Shyamji talked about the bandwidth increase 2x every year, which transforms to 1000x in 10 years, because 2 raised to 10, he mentioned about it. And what Randeep sir said was about every cloud requirement is moving to the edge. It has to come closer to the end user. And he mentioned in case of driverless cars, it has to even come onto the car and not to the edge. The entire innovation of Nokia is actually being done to cater to these requirements. I'll take it one by one. So assuming, first we are talking about the IPification of the networks which will be needed to ensure there is low latency. We have networks coming close to the edge. We will have data centers being built, and you use the word distributed data centers, and that is the talk today. Whether the biggest of the hyperscalers or the local web scale players, they are talking about these data centers. And what we do in Nokia is we work in the data center and across the data centers. So within the data centers, we have our switching and routing portfolio, which is being taken care. And then across the data centers is the DCI connectivity we provide. So that takes care of the entire development of the network which is needed. And that's where the innovation is coming in. But then that doesn't stop here. You build a network, you finally need the end users to feel the difference into it. And that is where we are working on various innovations to ensure that the end users are getting a state-of-art network at their home, at their enterprise. And this is being done with FWA being deployed. That's the most successful 5G use case. We discussed it last year in your first edition, and it's a reality today. Now we are working on the millimeter wave. So millimeter wave FWA is the thing what we have hopefully tomorrow, and then that will create that art for the end user. And more importantly, even the fiberization is so important today. We are ensuring that the fiber networks are also being given the state-of-art speeds the customers want. Third important factor is basically after building the network, it has to be operations, the automation and the AI-driven operations. I really like the slide which Randeep has shared, where there are those 4 quadrants. And it's exactly what we are doing. Every activity which is happening in the network was humanly managed earlier, which is not possible today. And this is exactly predictive analytics, traffic management, on the go load management, upgrade and anomaly detection. This is exactly all the use cases we are working on using our AI automation, keeping in mind the sustainability and green energy. As Nokia, we develop our chipsets on our own. We have our own portfolio of developing chipsets. And one thing which is very clear in our minds is the next generation chipset has to be more sustainable and more green. The power consumption has to be X dot factor lower than what the previous one was. So all in all, there have been products there. There are portfolios which will be there. End customers will be given the state-of-art products. Automation will ease out service providers, operations problems, and then finally we'll also give back to the environment using green solutions. So that's the concept which we are working. We call it as a four-pronged approach for Nokia to develop new technology and innovation.
Right, right. You have been here since morning, and we're also listening about AI. Everyone is talking about AI. But according to you, how important is AI in this autonomous networks, and where do you see the immediate use case? Are there any kind of real world examples already?
Absolutely, Mansi. So, I heard that telecom is essential. I would say telecom with AI and automation is essential now. Considering the vulnerability our networks have today, with AI, with automation comes a lot of risk of you getting attacked, your network being this. So at that point, the most important factor is your AI has to be secure. Your AI has to ensure that if there is any anomaly in the network, that has to be detected. And then to ensure performance, there has to be AI for automation, AI for traffic management, AI for predictability and fault detection. So what used to happen in ML, which was the machine learning through users, now has to be automated through AI. And most of these use cases, which I just mentioned, are available in the portfolio today. In fact, I'll reveal one more secret. The way we are working now for making network operations easier is we are working on digital twin cloning. So if there is a network which is up and running and you need to add a new network element or you need to upgrade, configure a new element, usually there is to be a risk if something goes wrong. You can actually now create a digital twin using AI, have a virtual network, implement the changes in that virtual network and see the results. If they are good as per the requirements, implemented in the real network. So this AI-driven automation journey is just going to take us to the next level, easing out every ISP, CSP, service provider, data centers, life, making it easier. And then it's saving of cost, saving of getting more efficiency and getting it first time right.
Right, right. But how is the industry's priorities changing, as in the operators? Are they focusing more on cost efficiency or service innovation or the customer experience?
Oh, you mentioned about three parameters here. So this reminds me of a factor when we were rolling out our 4G and 5G networks. There used to be three parameters: speed, quality, and time. And we as vendors used to go to every operator and tell them, you choose only two out of these three. You cannot get 3 on 3. So you want speed and quality, time will be more, and so on and so forth. But to the point which you mentioned, I think none of these three can be compromised. So let me give you the reason why. So you mentioned about the speed and the importance of it. That cannot be missed today because that is the need of the hour, because you cannot be away from the market. Customer experience, immensely important. In fact, all our customers are spending on customer experience management, because today onboarding a customer is the most difficult and the most expensive task for their books, and losing them out is actually something which they need to be extra careful about. So customer centricity is equally important from their side. And the last one is the service. It works exactly the way I said. When automation and AI driven service dependability will happen, this will be seen as the next generation step where this aspect will be taken care along with the other two. Because of automation and AI, as I said earlier, we used to choose 2 out of 3. 2 is still human dependent. The third one, machines have taken over. So now we can achieve all 3 which you asked for.
Right, right. Let's talk a bit about the enterprise market. How is Nokia addressing the growing demand for this bandwidth and the 5G driven applications? And also, if you could elaborate a bit on, what are the growth opportunities for Nokia beyond telecom? What are you looking at?
Very interesting question. And I think, till we were rolling out 5G, our focus in Nokia infrastructure also was to cater to the CSPs, build the network infrastructure for them, which we have done, and now we'll further improvise it. But what we've changed in the last 9 months from January this year is we've put special focus on two other verticals beyond the telecom providers. One is enterprise, and other is the data center and hyperscalers. Uh, Let me first touch upon the enterprise side. We have three major categories of enterprise where we look upon. So one is the BFSI. There is a lot of requirement of enterprise on the banking and financial sector. The way we work on it is not making a solution which is fitting all. We create solutions in network infrastructure, which is actually the need from an end customer. For BFSI, the most important is security. And that is where we work on quantum safe networking. We have quantum cryptography, we have quantum safe analysis encryptions, which we do, which is actually perfectly suited for the BFSI segment of enterprise. And we position our products with this quantum computing to them. The second in enterprise is basically transport and utilities. So that could be the ports, the airports, the metros. And this is where the most important factor is the latency. Randeep sir touched upon, you cannot have latency be playing a part there because this could be fatal. You could have accidents. So those are the solutions we cater to the transport and utilities enterprise. And the last one is in enterprise is defense. So there are certain factors we consider for the defense, which are obviously known to everyone, but we cannot share in open. But yes, those are aspects which have to be very closed loop discussions, and information security is very important. So these are the broad portfolios of enterprise for which we have products and customers. Coming to hyperscalers and data centers and distributed data centers, we have our product portfolios which cut across within the data center, as we call it, in data center, and then we have across data center. What we did amazingly well in strategizing, and this is where I give the Nokia leadership team a heads up there, was we acquired Infinera in April 2025. The only piece missing in these ecosystem of hyperscalers and data centers was the subsea, which as Nokia we did not have a lot of play in. And Infinera was very strong in that. So now what happens in the data center setup is we take care of in and across. And then when it comes to the terrestrial and the subsea cabling, we have a brilliant portfolio of Infinera coming in. So we can cater to data centers across the globe by giving an end-to-end 100% Nokia dependent solutions. So these are the two verticals beyond the CSPs and beyond the telecom providers where we are focused. And the plan is to grow in multi-fold in the next 5 years.
Right. So data centers are your next kind of priority?
Absolutely. We are focusing on them.
Okay. So, India, as you know, it's a very price sensitive market. So how do you balance innovation and, keep your networks affordable as well for the industry?
India is price sensitive, definitely. But nowadays, the entire globe works on price because competitiveness, EBITDA issues are with everyone. So we have to be ahead of the curve to ensure that we are building the right product with the right costs, which can be deployed across the globe. For India specifically, Mansi, what we do is we have a three-point approach here. One, we produce the equipment in India. So we have factories in Chennai, we have partnership factories in Noida. So that brings our cost down. So what happens is this direct reduction in cost of import, building it outside India, is a straight advantage to us when it comes to cost points to deliver in India. The second one is we have a lot of setup of R&D in India where we are actually innovating depending on what is the need in India. So you don't develop 20 features of which maybe 10 are not needed, and those add costs. You might as well cater to the requirement of the country with the features they want to be deployed, which will be useful after deployment as well. And last but not the least are the various pricing models. As I said, we have the scalable model of deployment. So we take care, it's not a front-loaded investment which any customer has to do. It can be a pay-as-you-grow model, buy-as-you-grow model. So we have our solutions which are usually scalable. So you buy the first layer first, start your network, see the growth, add on cards, add on layers onto it, so that your capex is also taken care in a way with your growth of revenue. So with these three major functions, what we do is we ensure that in India we are competitive as well, and we are taking care of the capex investment, the cash flow of the customers.
Perfect. That's very interesting. So we just, our time is up. So if you can just conclude with your closing remarks.
I mean, the reason I actually was checking with the video was, I mean, there is a lot of thought process of Nokia being a very important integral part of the 5G and the CSP business. But as I said, there is a lot of transformation happening within the organization. The network infrastructure portfolio takes care of enterprise, data centers, hyperscalers, subsea now. So there is a lot to do from a 5G ecosystem perspective. We geared up the setup, but that's not the end of it. The next 12 months will be even more interesting for us because now we will automate it. Now we will ensure that AI plays a major part to ensure that the networks are not vulnerable, taken care with security, and then automated as the need of the hour is. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.